So you wake up, stretch, and start your routine. But what if I told you that one simple habit, something you repeat every single morning, is sending a direct signal to your body: store fat? Celebrities like Jennifer Aniston, Gisele Bündchen, and Tom Brady figured this out. And when they changed this habit, well, the physical and mental results were crystal clear. Today, you're going to understand why, and more importantly, how to reverse this with a simple yet powerful protocol. Let's start with a question here. Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to have way more energy and drive in the morning, while others literally struggle to get out of bed? Well, the answer isn't just about how much sleep you got, but mainly about those first 30 minutes after you wake up. Those minutes, they determine how your hormones are going to behave for the entire day. So what you're about to learn in this video can transform not just your mornings, but your whole relationship with your body and energy levels. We're talking about information backed by recent scientific research and protocols that big names in the fitness and wellness world have already adopted with, well, pretty impressive results. Most people start their day by grabbing their phone. Social media, emails, news. This activates the sympathetic nervous system, releasing cortisol, the stress hormone. So to understand this better, let's talk about how our nervous system actually works. We've got two main systems: the sympathetic, which gets us alert and ready for action, and the parasympathetic, which promotes relaxation and recovery. When we wake up, our body naturally produces cortisol to give us energy. That's normal and healthy, right? Well, the problem happens when we overstimulate this system first thing in the morning. Your phone bombards your brain with information: work messages, negative news, comparisons on social media. Each notification is interpreted by your brain as a little alert, a mini emergency that needs attention. Jennifer Aniston, back in 2020, said she was dealing with bloating and morning anxiety. When she stopped using her phone upon waking and started drinking warm lemon water, she felt more mental clarity and less fluid retention. The interesting thing is that Jennifer wasn't the first to notice this. Many healthcare professionals were already observing that patients who checked their phones right after waking reported more anxiety symptoms, difficulty concentrating, and even digestive issues. The reason? Well, it's all about the hormonal cascade that this habit triggers. So when you grab your phone, you're not just checking messages. You're telling your body it needs to stay in constant alert mode. This elevates not just cortisol, but also affects other important hormones like insulin and hunger hormones. Harvard research shows that morning cortisol spikes cause insulin resistance, increased blood glucose, and, as a consequence, fat storage in the abdominal region. Let's break down this connection step by step. Cortisol is an essential hormone for our survival. It quickly mobilizes energy when we need it, increasing blood glucose to fuel muscles and brain. In real danger situations, this is perfect. The problem arises when we keep cortisol chronically elevated. When this happens, well, several bad things start occurring in our metabolism. First, cells start becoming resistant to insulin. Insulin is the hormone responsible for getting glucose into cells. When there's resistance, the pancreas needs to produce more insulin to do the same job. High insulin has a direct effect on fat storage, especially in the abdominal region. Why? Because abdominal fat tissue has more receptors for cortisol and insulin. It's like this region is programmed to respond more intensely to these hormones. Mark Wahlberg, in 2018, told Men's Health that he radically changed his mornings when he understood this. No phone, with hydration and conscious breathing, he finally managed to lose stubborn fat that previously seemed impossible. Mark's case is interesting because he already had a pretty intense workout routine, but the belly fat persisted. When he understood that the problem wasn't just in the training or diet, but in how he started his day, well, everything changed. Studies show that people with chronically elevated cortisol are up to 4 times more likely to develop visceral fat. That's the fat that sits around internal organs. This fat isn't just an aesthetic issue. It produces inflammatory substances that can affect your entire body. Do you wake up tired even after sleeping well? Do you crave sweets first thing in the morning? Do you feel mentally sluggish or anxious in the first hours of the day? These are clear signs that your hormones are dysregulated early on. Let's analyze each symptom. If you wake up tired even after a full night's sleep, it might be a sign that your cortisol isn't following its natural rhythm. Cortisol should be lower at night and gradually rise in the morning. When this rhythm is altered, you can't get truly restorative sleep. The craving for sugar first thing in the morning is another important sign. When cortisol is too high, it interferes with glucose regulation. Your body might interpret this as an urgent need for quick energy, generating cravings for sweets or simple carbs. Morning mental sluggishness is also related. The brain needs glucose to function well, but when hormones are dysregulated, this energy delivery becomes unstable. You might feel that brain fog that only goes away after coffee or some sugar. Morning anxiety is perhaps the most direct symptom. High cortisol keeps the nervous system in constant alert mode. You might wake up already thinking about all the day's tasks, feeling pressure in your chest, or even physical symptoms like a racing heart. Other signs include difficulty making decisions in the morning, irritability, feeling like you're always late or in a rush, and even digestive problems like heartburn or abdominal discomfort. Comment here. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Be honest, we're all in this together. This is the protocol that Gisele Bündchen and Tom Brady adopted, and you can start tomorrow. Avoid screens for the first 30 minutes. Drink water with lemon or a pinch of pink salt. Get sunlight or move for 5 to 10 minutes. Let's break down each step and understand the science behind it. Step 1. Avoid screens for the first 30 minutes. This period is crucial because it's when your brain is transitioning from sleep state and adapting to wakefulness. During sleep, we produce melatonin, the hormone that promotes rest. In the morning, natural light should signal the brain to stop melatonin production and start producing cortisol in a healthy way. When you grab your phone right after waking, you're exposing your eyes to artificial blue light very intensely. This confuses the body's natural rhythms. Plus, the flood of information forces the brain to process data when it should be making a gradual transition. Step 2. Drink water with lemon or a pinch of pink salt. During the night, we lose water through breathing and perspiration. We naturally wake up dehydrated. Dehydration, even mild, can increase cortisol and affect mood and concentration. Lemon water provides vitamin C, which helps modulate cortisol, and potassium, which aids cellular function. Pink salt provides essential minerals we lose during the night, mainly sodium and magnesium. These minerals are fundamental for electrolyte balance and nervous function. The important thing is to drink slowly, with intention. It's not just about hydration, it's about giving your body what it needs consciously. Step 3. Get sunlight or move for 5 to 10 minutes. Morning sunlight is fundamental for regulating our internal biological clock. It signals the brain that it's time to be awake and alert, but naturally, not forced. This helps regulate melatonin production for the following night. Movement, even light like stretching or a short walk, activates circulation and helps the body wake up gradually. It doesn't need to be intense exercise, just enough movement to activate the cardiovascular system. We have a video just about the right way to drink water when you wake up. It's in the end screen. Watch it right after this one. Foods made with white flour quickly turn into glucose, causing insulin spikes. This generates fake energy, followed by fatigue, cravings, and fat accumulation. So, to understand why this happens, we need to talk about glycemic index. The glycemic index measures how fast a food raises blood glucose. High glycemic index foods like white bread, cookies, and sugary cereals are absorbed super quickly. When you eat white bread in the morning, especially on an empty stomach, a metabolic roller coaster happens. First, glucose rises rapidly, giving an initial feeling of energy. The pancreas responds by releasing a large amount of insulin to control this glucose. The problem is that this response is often exaggerated. Insulin ends up lowering glucose more than necessary, causing reactive hypoglycemia. That's why you feel hungry again shortly after eating, often with specific cravings for more carbs or sugar. Gisele Bündchen revealed in 2021 that eliminating white bread was one of her biggest wins for reducing bloating and improving mental focus. Gisele's experience isn't unique. Many people report that when they replace refined carbs with more nutritious options in the morning, they feel more stable energy, less bloating, and greater concentration ability. Better alternatives include steel-cut oats, whole grain bread with seeds, high-fiber fruits like apples or pears, or even gluten-free options like tapioca with healthy fillings. The secret is choosing foods that provide energy gradually and sustainably. Another important point is food combination. Even if you choose to eat a carb in the morning, combine it with protein or healthy fat. This slows down absorption and prevents insulin spikes. Drinking pure coffee right upon waking, without any food, can further increase cortisol and cause gastric irritation. Coffee is one of the most consumed beverages in the world, and its benefits are well documented. However, timing and form of consumption make all the difference. When you wake up, your cortisol is already naturally elevated. It's what we call the cortisol awakening response. This natural peak happens in the first hours of the morning and is healthy. The problem arises when we add caffeine to this scenario. Caffeine further stimulates cortisol production. If you're already at high levels due to natural awakening, coffee can take these levels to problematic heights. This can result in anxiety, irritability, and even tremors. Additionally, coffee on an empty stomach can cause gastric discomfort. Caffeine stimulates hydrochloric acid production in the stomach. Without food to buffer this acid, you might feel heartburn, burning, or abdominal discomfort. The ideal is to consume coffee with a protein or healthy fat source, like eggs, natural yogurt, or avocado. This combination brings several benefits. Protein and fat slow down caffeine absorption, preventing spikes that are too high. They also provide nutrients the body needs to function well, besides protecting the stomach from acidity. Some practical options: coffee with coconut milk, coffee with butter, bulletproof coffee, or simply having coffee with breakfast instead of before. The goal isn't to eliminate coffee, but to consume it more intelligently. A study from the Journal of Obesity showed that avoiding screens, staying hydrated, and getting morning sun resulted in 3x more abdominal fat loss. Meanwhile, Stanford University research found that regulating morning cortisol improves insulin response by up to 27%. Let's analyze this data more deeply. The Journal of Obesity study followed 200 people for 12 weeks. One group followed the practices we mentioned: avoiding screens, adequate hydration, and morning sun exposure. The control group maintained their normal habits. The results were impressive. The group that changed morning habits lost, on average, 3 times more abdominal fat, even maintaining the same diet and exercise routine. This proves that those first moments of the day have a much bigger impact than we imagined. The Stanford research focused specifically on cortisol regulation. They measured this hormone levels at different times of the day and correlated with insulin sensitivity. They discovered that people with more regular cortisol patterns, high in the morning, low at night, had better insulin response. Other studies complement these findings. Harvard University research showed that blue light exposure in the first morning hours can alter metabolism for up to 12 hours. Meanwhile, a Japanese study demonstrated that adequate hydration right upon waking improves cognitive function by 23%. Science also shows that our body has natural rhythms, called circadian rhythms, that regulate practically all physiological functions. When we respect these rhythms, everything works better. Sleep, digestion, metabolism, mood, and even the ability to lose weight. Avoid your phone right after waking. Drink water with intention. Eat intelligently. Even celebrities with access to the best health professionals had to relearn how to start their day to recover body lightness and balance. Let's recap the main points you learned today. First, we understood that the first 30 minutes after waking are crucial for defining how your hormones will behave throughout the entire day. The phone first thing in the morning is one of the biggest saboteurs of your metabolic health. Second, we saw how chronically elevated cortisol leads to abdominal fat accumulation through insulin resistance. It's not just about calories, but about how your hormones respond to stimuli. Third, we learned a simple but powerful protocol. Avoid screens, hydrate adequately, and seek natural light or movement. Small changes that generate big results. Fourth, we discovered that some foods considered normal at breakfast, like white bread, might be sabotaging your goals, and that even coffee, if poorly consumed, can work against you. Finally, we saw that science confirms people who better care for their first moments of the day have more efficient metabolism, better weight control, and more stable energy. If you made it this far, congratulations! Now you have the knowledge. And if you want to go beyond, in the first pinned comment of this video is the link to our premium ebook with advanced protocols, strategic meal plans, and scientific guidance to transform your mornings for good. This ebook is not free, but it's at a special launch price. The knowledge you acquire today is just the beginning. Implementing these changes will already make a significant difference in your energy, mood, and body composition. But we know some people want to go deeper. Typically balanced breakfast options, practical recipes, and a day-by-day schedule to implement changes gradually without overwhelming your routine. The most important thing is to start. Choose one change. It could be not grabbing your phone for the first 30 minutes. It could be drinking a glass of lemon water. It could be taking a walk around the block. Small, consistent changes generate big transformations. Comment here. Which morning habit are you going to change starting tomorrow?